Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. This episode is brought to you by the She Shed in Kincardine. And today, I am so excited to have on a 28-year-old from Ripley, Ontario, a 13th overall draft pick of the Plymouth Whalers, and a fifth round draft pick of the Colorado Avalanche, a silver medalist with Team Ontario in under 17, a gold medalist with Team Canada in under 18, the leading scorer in the WOAA loop in 2019-20. Ripley even named a day after him. And he's the captain and holds the record for most goaltender interference penalties in one playoff drive. Garrett Meurs, how are you?
Hey, Wally, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
So I guess, I usually, this is locals week, folks. And Mearsy's just down the road for me, but we're still doing this via Zoom because of all this horse manure. But anyways, how I usually start is how we know each other. And I guess we met each other, I think was at like O'Reilly skates, right? In Godrich.
Yeah, I remember the first time, Wally, because it was fantastic. We were on the ice in Goddard's there because it's we're obviously in Ripley. There's not much ice available in the summer, and so the O'Reillys, he's from down that way, and we for like since I was 15, I was skating down there, and so we were skating the one day, and or no, we were getting ready for a skate. You were skating by yourself. I get to the rink, and there's this old guy skating around the rink by himself, shooting pucks on an empty net.
Old guy.
and
guy. I wasn't that old at that point.
Well, I remember looking down and like, who is this guy? Anyway, so I'm getting dressed, and all of a sudden this guy comes walking in the room. He's, hey, I heard there were some hockey players here going for a skate, and no idea. You introduce yourself, and yeah, man. Next thing you know, you're on the ice whipping around. I think you did I think we were doing a 2-on-1 drill, and you tried the old fake shot between the legs pass, and that's when I was just like, okay, who is this guy? But
well, you always got to try that once a practice, just keep things fresh.
Well, I'm pretty sure O'Reilly was the D-man on that play too. It was just, keep him guessing.
Yeah, that's right. He probably hadn't seen that maneuver before. The old fake slap shot between the legs, backhand pass. Okay. But the other reason why we know each other is we were teammates and at some point line mates on the Ripley Wolves.
Yeah, that was quite the year.
Was it only 1 year together?
Year and a half, buddy.
Right. Year and a half. Yeah, year and a half. But you did take a lot of goaltender interference penalties on that playoff drive when we marched all the way to the finals against the Clinton Radars, and I went septic and after the first game, and I almost died and went to work with an IV in my arm for 16 days. That was a fun time. Really glad I was playing Senior A at that point in my life. But it was pretty exciting when we went to Clinton, and there was like 2 busfuls of like Ripley fans, and it was fun, man. I loved it.
Yeah, that was a great season actually. Like it was a lot of fun. That was my first year home. So I just moved home from playing pro and I'll play in Ripley, and then we pulled that off. It was a lot of like one of the best years I've had playing hockey.
Yeah, I was around that team for, I think it was 3 or 4 years. And each year they kept getting better and better and better. And then, yeah, I guess COVID shut you down there for a while. So anyways, I really enjoyed my time with the Wolves. Love getting to know the people of Ripley. Now my kids go to school there. So that's all part of how I know you. I still see you on the regular, as they'd say, right?
Yeah, for sure. Friday afternoons picking up the kids.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. You might end up in Ripley a little bit before the bell goes, right?
Yeah, you might as well make the rounds.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what's unusual about this Zoom call is most people are not near me and I do not see them anymore. And another reason how we know each other is you've also been an instructor at Wally Skills Days in Ripley.
Yeah. Yeah. You always got to go help out the local kids.
Do you remember the crossover day? Do you remember how fast I was? Do you remember that?
You were all right. I don't know. I think there was I think one of the kids might have been a little faster, but I'll just let you have it if you want.
Fair enough. Okay. Also, due to our sponsor here tonight, Lakeside Organic Glow and the She Shed, which my wife, Lisa Walton, is the owner of Lakeside Organic Glow. And the reason that comes up today's podcast is when I played for the Ripley Wolves, this is before you were a Ripley Wolf, and she was getting her business started with Lakeside Organic Glow. I was she had done a training course, and then she needed to practice on someone how to do a spray tan. I was 30. I don't know how old I was, 34-ish maybe. And I meet all these new guys on the Ripley Wolves that I do not know. I'm the old fat guy, terrible body. I know that. But like I showed up to a Ripley Wolves game with a spray tan because I needed to be her guinea pig. And that was years ago. And she's really perfected her spray tan now. So we've come up with the idea, I guess, before the next local podcast. The kids have decided that Lisa's going to give me a spray tan to show everybody how good she is at it so I can be a real brand ambassador on the pod. But today's sponsor is Lakeside Organic Glow. It's certified personal and beauty service specializing in Suntan airbrush tanning, Sunna Smile professional teeth whitening, complete body sugaring, which is hair removal, folks, and full set eyelash extensions. And I know Meursy's got beautiful eyelashes. Lisa takes pride in exclusively carrying only the absolute best quality and product, meeting the all-natural and organic ingredient standards with Suntan, Sunna Smile, and Sugar & Co. She has been partnered with the boss babes of the She Shed Beauty Boutique in Kincardine to add to their full-service day spa menu since 2018. To have a look at the services provided, visit their website at www.sheshedbooking.as.me. And folks, this is serious. For all of Lisa's services, that's teeth whitening, that is spray tanning, and sugaring, folks. Guys, we are not going to do your undercarriage. That is not on the table. Folks, sorry about that. And the eyelash extensions, if any of you gentlemen are into that. But seriously, if you're standing in front of Lisa, guys, if you tell your wives this, if they come for a spray tan and they're standing in front of Lisa naked and they yell, Wally 15, they're going to get 15% off a spray tan, Meursy, just like when I got that freebie when I was on the Wolves that made me look so good. So if anybody tells their wives and they book with Lisa or any of you dudes that have been chewing and your teeth are all black and you need some whiter teeth, or you're going on a hot date after COVID, you get 15% off, folks, with Wally 15. Just tell Lisa Wally 15. Okay, Meursy. That's all I had to say about the spray tan and the She Shed. And the She Shed gals don't even know they're the sponsor tonight. Just Lisa does. And I can offer 15% off her services. So there you go, folks.
I was not there for this spray tan experience, but I've never heard a more retold story in my life in a dressing room than walking in there. First of all, you still do the same thing, just minus the spray tan, walk around. And then you go in there, and then first time you're like, what is that? And then you just normal anyway. Next thing you know, someone goes, man, you think this is bad? You should have seen him with the spray tan. Anyway, that story go a long way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get why it would be kind of weird, right? Like some guy that really doesn't look like a hockey player shows up in Kincardine, starts playing senior A for the Wolves, has a like just doesn't look like a real athlete, and then they show up with a spray tan. I could see how that would throw the guys for a loop, right?
Yeah, I can see it. And then, but to be fair, once you get on the ice, you do look like a hockey player because it's some things you're just like, wow, that was pretty cool.
Well, I wasn't getting around the ice very well by the end there. This folks, most of these listeners on here, I guess would I was usually talk about I had to retire because of my knee and I was never allowed to play again. Well, folks, when I moved back to Canada, I did decide to play more for the Ripley Wolves, and voluntarily, when the doctors told me I was not allowed to anymore. And that's what this is all from, which is what Meursy's still doing, which brings us in to the next segment is where are you and what are you doing now?
Well, yeah, like when everyone's done hockey, there's a period there where I was didn't really have any plan. I was at home, uh, not really doing much. Then finally, first things got everything started. I decided I'd get engaged here to my beautiful wife. Now I'm married. Now it's been a year, almost 2 years now in a month. So I was like, wow, well, that's a start. I better get a job, a real job. So I started. There's a telephone company in Kincardine, and I applied. There's no requisites for that. So I was sure it sounds like a good gig. I knew a couple guys that worked there. They're all good people, and so I was there for a year, and then decided that I wanted to go back to school basically because I never went to college. So after a year of working there, I was like, you know what, I would like to have a college degree at the end of this of some sort. So I decided, no, I didn't want to go back to college. I do the apprenticeship where you go months at a time or whatever. So I applied as an electrician at the world's biggest nuclear power plant. That is half an hour from my hometown, which is very handy. So I applied there, and now that's where I am. I'm an apprenticeship as an electrician.
I remember you had to finish a couple courses, right, when you moved back before you could
Yeah,
apply for
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. So I was as I applied, I had to obviously when you're playing junior hockey, you don't care what high school classes you take, so you just say, "Give me whatever will get me a diploma." And apparently, I should have paid a little more attention to that, and I needed grade 10 physics. No, sorry, grade 11 physics in order to be an electrician apprentice.
Yeah, no,
So that
well,
was that. I was a 26-year-old in taking grade 11 physics.
well, man, no, congratulations on it all working out because getting out of hockey, no matter, even though you got out a little younger than me, man, like it's still hard. Like all your buddies are still like, for you, they would have been 5, 7 years into their careers. Like for me, my buddies were like 15 years into their careers. So yeah, it's all weird getting out of hockey, and I'm glad it worked out for you there, getting in there. So good work, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. It took a little figuring it. Well, and I had to decide if I was really done yet. That was a couple months sitting on the couch.
Yeah. No, it's an adjustment. Yep, there was a lot of days that were just Saturdays when we got back. When like Lisa was American, she couldn't work in Canada. And I had yeah, two little kids and then I had no real work experience. So shit gets real quick when you get back.
Yeah, for
But
sure, man.
anyways, not to sound ridiculous on this because I've never had sponsors before, but I actually do have a real sponsor that like I could get compensated for drinking beers with you tonight in my shed, Mersey. This is real. Okay, so we have to actually say this because if I got compensated for drinking beers with you tonight in my shed, that's livid, buddy. So here we go. Um, it's the one I mentioned on the Raven podcast, the property valet. This is and stayinblue.ca. So stayinblue.ca is short-term and full-season options in the Blue Mountain Collingwood area, folks. So if you're going on a golf trip, whenever this freaking lockdown ends without being able to golf, which is ridiculous, and shout out to Ainsdale Golf Course and all the Kincardine and all the other golf courses that are suffering because of this horse manure. Anyways, stay in blue. If you ever do get to go on a vacation and go golfing and bachelor parties, whatever, if you go to their website, www.stayinblue.ca, and a minimum 3-night stay, you can put in the code Wally20 and you will get 20% off. And I'm not even joking. You'll actually get 20% off your stay. And if you own a place in the area, folks, they got a full service team that takes care of everything for you, rents it out, the whole service, and that's propertyvalet.ca. And if you mention the pod, you'll get a free home systems assessment. So anyways, had to say that, Meurs, because pretty cool that if somebody wants to go on vacation in Blue Mountain, Collingwood area, Wally could get paid for drinking beers in his shed, right?
Yeah, you did a great job of showing that off.
Cheers, buddy. We could get paid for I could get paid for doing this, and I'd buy you a beer if we do.
Okay, I'll be waiting on that one. Just like the last one.
All you got to do, just go to the website and put in Wally20 and go take the gal for vacation. And are you guys not expecting some exciting stuff in your life here?
Yeah. We're about 4 months away from some exciting stuff.
Is that all you got to say? What is it? What's the exciting stuff?
Sorry. Yeah, we're expecting our first child in 4 months. Is that what you're expecting?
That's what I was like. The listeners didn't know what you're talking about there, Meurs. You gotta, come on here.
Okay,
so
sorry.
Are you finding out what you're gonna have?
Nope. We are past that point now. I think
dear.
that was a month ago that she went for that one, and we decided there's only one real surprise in life. That's what somebody told me, so we're going to do that.
We did the same thing. I just was wondering if I was getting invited to like a big gender reveal in Ripley or something, where you're going to shoot like a hockey puck and it's going to be like blue or pink or something. I didn't know. Okay.
I don't
shoot
hard enough to blow up pucks, so it doesn't matter.
No, you just run into goalies.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was at work the other day, and obviously – Britzy, I already played with us, and I work with them too. And somebody brought up my first game in senior hockey, and I remember it was like my third shift, I think, where I decided that the goalie was now a defenseman and just ran him from behind.
Meursy, watching you in senior A sometimes was the best entertainment. I was so happy I was playing just so I could watch some of the shit you would do, because like you'd get two-handed by the goalie. You'd be getting just absolutely crushed trying to split the D for absolutely no reason. You'd run into the goalie and blow him up, and then you'd act like you didn't know what had happened. But then you were so much better than everybody. It was so ridiculous. I loved watching it. It was great entertainment.
It was pretty fun to come back and do it, It was, and it's funny, the two-hand by the goalie, he's now our goalie. That's the best part.
Yeah, and he's quite the dandy himself. And congrats to him on the new business. I hear he's got a new business there doing renovations, eh?
Yeah, I was talking to him the other day, actually. He's Gatlin Burt's Renovations. Gatlin
well, that two-hander he gave you was pretty epic. It was like he was swinging for the fences, and man, what a playoff series that was.
Yeah, that was just season.
Whatever. I can't believe I played those types of series again and got so into it again after all the talks I've had on this podcast and all the memories that have come back that I did it again with you guys is just kind of strange. But anyways,
yeah.
Next part of the show here is what's minor hockey like in Ripley? Because this is, this pod's a little closer to home. Like, Colby goes to school in Ripley. So what's minor hockey like in Ripley and growing up in Ripley like? Well, and
it's
Zoe,
obviously
sorry, I can't leave her out. I was just mention hockey, but Zoe too.
that's good that you got both kids, buddy. That's Ripley minor hockey's never been big, right? Like we're only a town of we're growing. We might be up to 1,000 people now. Like when I was going to school here in hockey, it was 600. But I think we might be hitting almost 1,000, maybe. We got a new subdivision, first ever subdivision in Ripley. Big news. And it's awesome. Like you go to the rink and you go to school with the same kids, and I still like my whole wedding party had like five out of the six I played hockey with in Ripley growing up. Went to school with them, same grade, everything, all the way up. That was literally it. And it's just now it's the same thing. I see these kids, I see them biking by. There's 3 of them bike by my house. Next thing you know, I go to the rink to do a skills session with them, and they're there again on the ice together. It's just one of those things. Small town hockey. I was only personally here till Pee Wee. I left from Pee Wee to play AAA. We don't have AAA or AA or any A's. We're double D, or we might be D now. I think we dropped a level in Ripley itself. So for me to play AAA, I actually went to Huron Perth to the Laker organization and in Pee Wee. So didn't get as much of the minor hockey experience as I should as a kid as some kids do, but it is still a nice little hockey town. Yeah. That is now actually amalgamated with Lucknow to call it the Huron Bruce.
That's right, the Blizzards. But
yes,
couple things I wanted to mention while we're on Ripley and growing up there is just because my kids are doing it is like I see my son with his buddies, and interesting fact is like it's weird for him because he plays hockey in Kincardine, and a couple of his other buddies do too that go to Ripley, and then there's a couple of kids that play at Ripley, and like it's it's too bad that they're not all on the same team, but it is what it is. I did the same thing as a kid. But the other thing was the Ripley Arena, man. Got to talk about that place. Like growing up as a kid, if it's a snow day, Meursy, what happens at school? Do you not pay $5 and you were skating all day?
Yeah, like I know when I was you're right. When I was a kid, if the roads are closed, the school was closed in Ripley. But my dad, he didn't care. The road's closed. I'm like, I want to go to the arena. All right, get in. We're going in. And he just down the closed roads into Ripley, hand me a $5 bill and drop me off at 10 a.m. I'll be back. I'm like, when? He goes, whenever you call me. So I go on the ice, and I would have called a few buddies by then. At that time, it was call the home phone, and then just tell them, yeah, I'm going to Ripley. And then I don't know. I didn't even care who showed up, and I would spend probably the next 6-7 hours on the ice in Ripley. And then at the end of the time, I'd hand the $5 my dad gave me to the arena guy and say, see you next time. And it was probably one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah, man, that arena is an awesome spot. I have some great memories already for only living here a few years. The family shinny they got there. I guess it's if the ice is not rented out, you just pay $5 and you can just go out there. Right? And it's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Like there's not many rinks around Ontario that actually like. Well, actually, let's not get the secret out. Let's not talk about it anymore. Okay. But you also went to the Ripley school where my kids go, right? So it's all very relatable this week's pod here, Meursy.
Yeah, I remember that.
How's your internet doing there, bud? Anyways,
it's not great, right? It's my fridge is out in the garage, so I have to sit out here. So I don't have the greatest internet. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So one sec. You're talking about Ripley School and the Ripley Arena. So one of the best things is when you're kids it's literally across the road. So you go and you just see after school the line of kids going across this road, and the actual people across the road that own the property, their kids were they're all around my age. One's a year younger, one's a year older, and they didn't care. And it was just this train of kids after school going across the road, going to the arena for their whatever practices for the night. Yeah.
Oh
Anyway, I just
man,
want to throw that in there when you're saying that.
Yeah, no, it's a great setup, man. I really like Ripley. I really like the community. I like the people there. I really enjoyed my time, like getting to know them with the Wolves, and now with my kids being there, like it is a great town. But I guess that's another part of this is this week is support locals here, and that's why we're having on all the locals. So the Fig Studio Kitchen in Ripley, it's been in business for 3 years. It is a husband and wife owned business with their focus on supporting Ripley and the surrounding area's local farmers and growers. They pride themselves in offering a variety of food that is made in-house with their own recipes that have been developed through the years. They make all of their own dressings, sauces, desserts, and take pride in offering a unique flavor experience. COVID has definitely put a chink in their chain, but they're putting a patio in place and look forward to seeing people in their restaurant sooner than later, hopefully. And Meurs, I'm just giving the restaurants all a shout out during Locals Week. And I could probably attend that new patio with you and Blair in the future, I think, if I happen to pick up the kids a little bit too early from school.
Yeah, they do a great job there. They had the patio last summer during the COVID stuff too. It's a good little spot.
Well, okay. Next question though is, so you did decide to go AAA and leave Ripley. What age was that? Because you got drafted 13th overall to Plymouth, so you had to have been seen by some people and been playing against some good competition at some point. So what age was that you decided to leave?
I actually left Ripley in minor peewee to go to. I didn't even know what AAA was. Like that's the crazy thing. Like it was all of a sudden I was like, my dad's like, "Hey, you want to go play some?" It was my mom and dad. You want to go play some hockey? And I was like, "Sure." Like, yeah, I like hockey. And they're like, "All right, we're going to these tryouts." I'm like, "They're in the spring." I'm like, "Well, no, tryouts are never in the spring." Well, these ones are. I was like, "Okay, let's do this." So they went to the tryouts, and then they're like, "All right, we want to sign you." And I'm like, my parents are like, "Okay, they want to sign you." And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, can I still play in Ripley and then play for them? And they're like, "No, you can't do that." I'm like, "Well, I don't want to leave my friends." So it was a big decision when at the age, like I think what's 13, what's Pee Wee, 11? Yeah, it would have been or 10.
I left two.
Anyway.
I left 2 years before that, and it was a hard decision. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it'd be harder then. So it was just like.
Hey, by the way,
like,
hey, I know you're in Ripley and all. You're getting all handsy on me, okay? You got to stop rubbing the table or whatever. You're getting all handsy on me. I can feel you rubbing around, okay? Stop rubbing around on me.
Well, you can feel that?
Oh, yeah. Noise? Oh, yeah. Stop it. You're getting all handsy on us here, folks. Sorry, Jenna. Maybe he's all handsy. I don't know. I guess that's how you guys got the baby coming, eh? Okay. So seriously, though, you got drafted 13th overall to Plymouth. So who did you play for? Because this is what's weird. So Colby's is a Kincardine kid, but you played for Huron Perth. I think Colby would he have to play for Grey Bruce because he signed up for Kincardine hockey, or how does that work? I don't even know. Somebody would have to tell us.
I don't know for sure, but I think you're right. To be honest, I think the boundary. I think the boundary somewhere around Lochno. So you're in Kincardine. I think Kincardine's here on Grey Bruce. Lochno and Ripley are here on Perth. But I think if you sign up for hockey in Kincardine, you go north to Grey Bruce, and Ripley goes south.
Yeah, this sounds like
because you know Jared. We played with Jared, right? Jared played a year and he's from Ripley. He played minor hockey in Ripley, and he played Grey Bruce Highlanders, but he had to go to Huron Perth Lakers tryouts and get cut first
before he could go there. And by the way, folks, Jared is one of those guys with just an interesting nickname, Cheese Pot. That's his nickname, folks. Hey, all the listeners out there, Jared is Cheese Pot.
You know why he got that?
Yeah. How does he get that
name? He always He always went cheese.
Is that right?
Yeah, way back in minor hockey.
Huh. Wow, you guys are really kind to each other. I was more chirping my buddies than giving them nicknames like that. But you guys are nice in Ripley, I guess, eh?
No, he was yeah, he was pretty good.
Okay. Well, he is a good player. Yeah, great player. Great teammate too. Yeah, no, I did enjoy my time there with the Wolves. So, anyways, um, moving on. Um, you go to Plymouth then. You get drafted 13th overall. So you're a pretty big deal there. 13th overall. So what's that like going to Plymouth there? How's that transition from leaving Ripley to, I guess that's the US of A, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, coming up to the draft, I didn't really know what to expect. Really, I didn't really know there was a draft until Major Bantam, and then they're like, there's a draft next year, and I was like, oh, that's how I didn't know how it worked. I had no idea. Like, I didn't know there was AAA. I didn't know there was a draft. I didn't know nothing. So I was like, okay, we're going to the States. This is gonna be good. And then get there, and it was good. Like, it was a great experience. Like, great billets. Like, I met the billets in the summer before I went. I got to know them. They were awesome. Like, I still see them. Maybe they come up here every once in a while and say hi to the family and everything. And they're awesome. And then the team was awesome. Like, Mike Vellucci was my coach, who was a legend in the league. He'd been there, won championships, great guy, knew how to coach. So he made the transition easy. High school, they had everything figured out because they knew all the kids were Canadian. So they had the great transition prep way to get players to transition down there. And it actually, when I got there, when I was 16, my the OA that year was actually Joe Gaynor, who was from Goddard, right down the road. He was the OA who I had actually skated with, same kind of skates as we first met there. He was doing those kind of skates with us, so he made it even easier knowing him. He was there, and he helped me the first few weeks and said, hey, yeah, don't do that, do this. He showed me around a little bit. He drove me around a few times and said, yeah. So it was good.
Yeah, that's good. You have a local guy down there, and that they made it an easy transition because I could see a boy from Ripley moving down there. If you don't have much support, you'd be a little lost. Because I was like, for me, even being from Elmira, which Elmira is a completely different town now when I go home, but like when I first went on a recruiting trip to Boston, and Ryan Dudgeon was one of the guys showing me around Boston, I was like, there's way too much going on around here. Like, from being from Elmira, it was just like there's way too much going on. It just like a fish out of water. But it's good you had people there helping you and everything. So you did pretty well there. But when does under 17 happen? Because you make Team Ontario out of Ripley, Ontario. So are you playing for Plymouth, or are you playing for like AAA then?
What, the under 17?
Yeah.
The under 17 is in December, so it's in the middle of the season.
Of what? You were like rookie year of the OHL?
Correct. Yeah. So they do the first half of the year. They pick the team in like November, and then you go to the under 17s in the fall because Ontario was a team. I think that they have a little different now. If I'm not mistaken, they actually take
Dude,
up in teams
your internet's
for the under
getting
17.
worse.
They take the whole of Ontario or whole. Well, sorry, man. I'm pretty sure now they take the whole of Canada and split them into teams. But back when I was 17 or 16, they would take the province by province and make your teams.
Yeah, no, I that was like the first time I was ever around like the best players was when I got invited to like the final camp of under 17 out of the OMHA group, right? Is that how you would have gone through a similar thing, right? But yeah,
we did the under 17 or the U16 Alliance program, and then the under 17, and then I think the under 17s actually they just pick it. I don't really know how it works, but yeah, we lost in the gold medal game to the Americans. It's all Canada, and then they invite the Americans, so those guys below us.
Well, they're getting a lot better at hockey, I tell you. Like
Yeah.
their minor hockey is pretty wild especially when I talk to my buddies that are down there.
Yeah, we had a good team, but just didn't work out in the gold medal game. I ended up in the box in the second period and just threw the whole game for a loop.
Goalie interference?
No, I think it was the some penalty. It might have been a trip.
You do get wound. You do get wound, Meursy. You do.
Yeah,
Um,
that's been an issue for a few years.
some of my favorite practices with the Ripley Wolves would be when you would go down to like a 2-on-1 and like miss the net or mess up and break your stick. And I would just die laughing that you were so into practice that you were breaking your stick in senior A.
Yeah, you know what? I'd really like a lot of those sticks back right now. I had the summer stock's taking a hit in the last couple seasons. It doesn't quite get restocked like it used to.
Oh, and that stuff runs out, buddy. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That stuff runs out. I still got sticks, but the rest of the stuff's pretty aged at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, that was funny. Sorry, I just needed a good laugh tonight, Mercy. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I
but
didn't find it funny.
well, no, you didn't find it funny, but that's why you were so angry, right? It was a big practice, right? It was a big practice. Can't believe you stopped it. Can't believe you stopped it. It was brutal. Okay, but that arena was really cold on whatever nights we would practice, and I'd get out there and I'd be like, geez, it's cold out here, and then you'd be that into it. It would be interesting times, but here we go. By the way, though, one thing I would say, though, is you're one of the guys that I would say loves hockey as much as anybody else I know. Like, you would be like a kid when you'd get to the rink. You'd be so happy to be there. And it was kind of infectious. You had bad chirps. They weren't good. You'd always try and chirp me just because I was old and fat. But, like, you know what? You can't chirp a guy that already knows that.
Yeah. You know what? I've always loved it. So, it was different when you play senior hockey because I have a job all day. And then we're only on practice once a week and we only play twice a weekend. So when you do get to go, you really got to enjoy it. So I enjoyed it as much as I could. And I've never been good at chirping. I'll give you that. I always try, but it never really works.
No, you don't excel at it, but you do participate, which that's all that matters. Do your best, forget the rest. Okay, but you actually, while playing for the Plymouth Whalers, you don't just make Ontario, you then make Canada, and I believe the jersey is hung in the arena that my son plays hockey in all the time. So, you made Team Canada. That's pretty gnarly, as they would say.
Yeah, coming out of my first year in Plymouth, got the invite out to Calgary for the Ivan Alinka at the time. I think it's the Alinka Gretzky now, the under 18 in the summer. And I got invited out to Calgary, and it was I think a week camp, and then I ended up making the team, and we ended up winning the gold medal game. We actually won 1-0 in the gold medal game. The only goal we scored was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and it was a wrister from the blue line.
You won 1-0. Who'd you beat?
The Americans, and it felt even better because that's who beat us in the under-17 finals.
So who's on the Americans that age group?
I don't really remember the Americans. I remember the whole Canadian team. The Americans that I can only remember because it was the summer one, right? So the summer one doesn't have the United States Development Program team in it. That's the spring one. That's why they always win the spring one. And the Canadians usually take the Ivan Alinka one because they don't bring the same team. I don't know if that's what it was then anyway.
I can't believe you know all that stuff. I wouldn't know that living in Elmira, but you knew that living in Ripley. That's interesting.
Well, well, like you just said, I like hockey, so I'm still a fan. Like I pay attention to everything, but I think it was anyone that played junior. So I think the only one I remember is Tyler Biggs. I think maybe Grimaldi.
Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco. I think no, he's a year older actually. That's not him. See, that's what I mean. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Ambrose. Seth Ambrose was a big deal back then. He was this big 16-year-old kid. He was huge. But no, I don't really remember much of the American team. I just remember it was so foggy because it was over in Czech Republic. It was so foggy for the final. We couldn't even, we had to, it was like one of those ones where you skate around trying to get the fog cleared. And then Nude scored from the blue line. It was fantastic.
So the goalie just couldn't see the twisted wrister from the blue line.
I don't even know, but he just, it was like this little shot.
That's quite the experience, though, for a boy from Ripley to have that experience, to go over to the Czech Republic and win a gold medal with Team Canada. That must have been a time, eh?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I said, like my dad came over. He came and watched all the games. He was born over in Europe actually, so he wanted to go back to Europe for a bit. He did a little traveling before the tournament, and then so like that's why So then I got home and the jersey from the tournament went over to the arena, and we had like this thing at Christmas when I was home from the season, and brought my medal and dropped the puck at a Wolves game. Actually, dropped the puck and
boom, mic drop.
Yep, and signed a few autographs for the kids, and it was a good time.
So when does this is ridiculous to say, but when does Garrett Meurs Day happen in Ripley? Is there not a day for Garrett Meurs? Is it annual? Is it like, do you have 2 birthdays, or was it just once?
It was just once, buddy.
Really? I thought it was annual. I would celebrate that with you every year. I actually kind of want to. Like, we could have an anniversary and we could get together for beers that night. Like, when was it?
It was, I don't know. It was over Christmas holidays. So end of December, January.
Busy time, but we could try. If January would be better. You know, I could never make the Wolves games in December. Those were tough games to make.
Yeah, I know. We could just do it sometime, though.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's pretty cool that they did that. So what actually happens at that day? Like, that did happen though, right? Like, they had a day?
Yeah.
What year does that happen? When do they decide to do that in your career?
What, they did it after the gold medal. They decided.
Oh, is that when they did it?
But so the gold medal ends in August, and then I came home and I actually had the Nhl Development Camp. So we tried a bunch of new rules. Like I don't even think any of the rules came. So it was like this 2-day camp in Toronto where we tried out some new rules. I was immediately following that, and then I got home for maybe 2 weeks, and then it was down to Plymouth for the start of the next season. So the Meurs Day was over the Christmas holidays.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool that happened for you, buddy. And you deserve it. It's pretty cool that you did all that for Ripley. I tell my kids about what you did, just so you know.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Well, you're also an instructor at Wally Skills Day. So, it's just people helping people. Okay. You got drafted to Colorado. So you were doing pretty good in Plymouth then, eh? So you went, I said 5th round. So what year of Plymouth does that happen? That you're getting drafted?
So,
and actually, no, I had another question before I go there. My question was because I remember the day I got a scholarship to Western Michigan. I remember the day they called me. Do you remember the day that you found out you made Team Canada? Like, how did they tell you that you made Team Canada?
Like the under 18?
Yeah. Why? How many times did you make Team Canada? I thought that was only once.
I didn't know we were talking about Team Ontario. So Team Canada, we had the camp. It was a week-long camp, and we had a roommate, and they were actually calling the roommates down to say you didn't make the team. And then they called mine down, and the next thing you know, we were watching out the window who was leaving.
So you knew you weren't leaving because you hadn't been called, and you could watch them leave. That's a tough bounce when they get that call.
Then we started. So after it got through, it was like they set a time, and then turned out it was like after a while, we started looking out the door in the hallway and other guys were. And finally, we all started looking together who was left and like, who's still here. And then we're like, okay, well, this is the team. So, But it was pretty amazing. And then, so you don't have your phone or your laptop or anything. So then as soon as it's all done, they give you your phone back and you get to call your parents.
You had phones back then?
Yeah, I had a cell phone. It didn't really.
Oh, you're way younger than me, dude. When I was going to that stuff, there weren't no cell phones.
It was one of those flip phones, you know.
I keep forgetting how much older I am than you because we're buddies now. But that's part of why I enjoyed playing on the Wolves so much, is I have buddies that are way younger than me too now. I met a whole different generation of dudes, and yeah, you're way younger than me. I keep forgetting that. Anyways, so you won it. So you said Nuge was on the team. Any other standouts on that team, or who's the coach, or is there anybody in particular you remember from that team?
I remember the whole team. A lot of them were in the so I'm in my garage and that's where I keep all the stuff. I got the whole team on the wall. I can name the whole team to you.
Oh, it's there right there. I got you.
Yeah. But the funniest one is I remember Jonathan Huberdeau was on the team. He was actually the 13th forward on the team.
What's your role on the team?
I was fourth line grinder.
Really?
Yeah, kind of like what I am today. But
yeah, right. I said you were the leading scorer last time you were playing there when you were wheeling around there. But go ahead. Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah. But it was funny. Yeah, he was the 13th forward, and next at the start, and then he was mixing in with the fourth line, and we were all kind of just. It was like a four-player fourth line, and then nothing really of him, and then next thing you know, he's third overall, and just now he's just unbelievable.
It is strange how it happens for some people, man. I was with some people I wouldn't have guessed it would work out for, and it did. And then there's guys that you're like, I can't believe it didn't work out for him because he's so good. It's just all very confusing sometimes. But anyways, next question. I got to figure out what that next question is. Well, you're in Plymouth. A neighbor socially distanced today and had a warm-up beer with me. That's pre-game warm-ups on a Friday. He said in Plymouth you played with Tom Wilson and Tyler Seguin. Is that right?
Yeah, my first year in Plymouth was Tyler Seguin's draft year. So he went second overall, obviously, and yeah, it was great to watch him fucking fly around the ice there.
Did you ever get any time with him? Because you can skate pretty quick too.
Yeah, a little bit at the start of the year, and then once it got a little bit into the second half, we were trying to make a playoff push. They made a trade and they picked up some wingers to play with them.
Some old boys.
So I kind of got bumped down a little bit, but I played with him for a bit, and then but then we finished Lakeside. That was my first year. We didn't really have the greatest team. He led us basically to where we were, and but yeah, it was good. And then Tom Wilson he's a year younger than me, so he came in the next year as a 16-year-old. And the first thing that I remember about Tom Wilson is he came along the boards and absolutely demolished a 21-year-old with the biggest hit I've ever seen. And he had a 10-game suspension as a 16-year-old for just destroying this guy. And next thing you know, he's drafted in the first round. Like, he was never a goal scorer. He played the game exactly how he plays it now. Just kills penalties, does everything. Like, he scored probably the same amount he did in junior as he does now. Like, under 20 goals.
Half a point a game.
Yeah, half a point a game, but plays hard, kills penalties.
But he changes the game, does he not? Does he not scare the absolute shit out of the other team? Or at least he does now, I think. And the way the game's changed, I don't think it was like that back when he was getting going. I think the way it is now, I think in the NHL, he actually changes the game. I think he'll change playoff series when it's starting here.
Well, and he's the same size he was now as 16. Like, it was just crazy how he was built to play where he is. Like, he's built for his role. But and he was a great guy, and yeah, it's good to see when he won that cup. It was good.
Well, that's pretty cool. So okay, now you're getting done with Plymouth. You're drafted by Colorado, so you sign your entry level deal, and I guess like you're getting into like the main camp here. Then you're going for it here now, right?
Yeah. Well,
So what type of players are in that main camp? Is like who's still playing? Who's playing for Colorado back then when you go to main camp?
my first main camp, I was 18. Like, so it was 2 years before I signed, obviously, because I had 2 years. I got drafted when I was 18, signed after my last year, junior. So I went to 2 camps. So my first year after signing was McKinnon's first year. And yeah, he was pretty good. Like Landeskog was there, and Tyson Berry.
So a lot of the okay.
Tyson Berry's gone now, I guess, but it was Landeskog, McKinnon. Trying to think of it. Like, I think Hayduk wasn't there then. Hayduk was there when I was there before. So when I was 18, I got a preseason game in Dallas. Like right after my draft, I had a great camp. Like I don't even know what I did before that camp because everything was just going in the net. Everything I touched was in the net. I was like, this is sweet. I had a great camp. And so they gave me a preseason game. It didn't go very well. Preseason. I was a little out of my league there because I remember the first thing I only remember 2 plays from the whole game or 3 plays from the whole game. One, I forgot that it was touch icing because junior didn't have touch icing at the time. So I'm chasing down a puck and just stopped, like literally way ahead of the D-man. And I stopped. And I was like, oh, you guys play different rules. Like I was so nervous. I just remember they're like, you're in a preseason game. I'm like, usually every other player is already sent home. That's not like that isn't on it. Like every junior player is already gone, and they're like, you get one game.
You don't even get to play with the real players. You don't even get to skate with the real players when you're just a draft pick usually.
I know, and I was like, wow, okay, this is sweet. So I just whatever, but then I was like way out of my league on that first preseason game. That was one, and then next thing you know, I'm behind our own net somehow. Get absolutely ran over by Steve Ott. Cuts me open. I'm like, what just hit me? It felt like I got hit by a truck because he came barreling in from somewhere. And then what was the third thing? Oh, and then the next one, Sheldon Surrey gets a 1T at the point. And I remember I went out and I said, nah, I'm good. I'll just go to the boards now.
You didn't block it.
You
took the option as a young buck.
I know, and I regret it. I regretted it after like I got to the bench. I was like, damn, I should have been doing something about that.
Yeah.
But then,
I got a question. I got a question. Do you think, because you're playing in that game for a reason, and I've seen you play, and you are as talented and as fast as anybody I've played with. Like, do you think it was like mentally when you were getting into that game, you told yourself you weren't ready? Like, cause I was from a small town and I grew up like in the small town. And like, when I got around the big boys, I kind of mentally was like, I'm not ready for this. Where the city boys were like, they didn't lack confidence, as like Stan Butler said on the one episode when he was on, was like, the guys from Toronto don't lack confidence, but guys from like the smaller towns, the OMHA and especially Ripley, Elmira, like you don't have the same confidence when you get around like the big boys. Was it like that for you or no? Is that not what it was?
Yeah, it would probably I never thought of it that way, but that's probably not a bad way to look at it. Like, I don't know. The camp, like I said, the camp went really well, and I knew I did well, but at the same time, I was like, I didn't expect to stay there.
And you didn't feel
that.
like you actually like belonged, and like you didn't feel like why are they asking me to play this game? Like right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I never really thought of it, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, yeah, I should have. After seeing my camp, I should have been ready to go to that game and be like, okay, do the same things I did in the camp. But in my head, I was like, no, like I said, like it's Sheldon Turner, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. You can take that shot, break somebody else's leg.
Right, but then that's like that's a big opportunity, and like if you just eat that sucker, if you take Sheldon Surrey's puck like wherever it wants to take you, if you do that, it does change careers, right? Like doing that stuff, like I don't know, but anyways.
I know, for sure. What you say, I never really thought it like you just said. Like there was no confidence. That goes probably a long way to it all.
Oh, dude! It just brought me back to when I went to Brampton. I was the last overall pick, like 8th round or whatever, like of the start of the Bantam draft or something. So I never really thought I was gonna make the team because like I wasn't one of the high picks. And then I went there and had like a great camp, in a summer camp, and then I go there at the start of the year, and like the billets are like, well, they told me you've made the team. Like, you're not even trying out. Like, you're on the team. Like, you've made it. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even plan on staying here. Like, I thought I was coming here to get cut. Like, I was just coming here for fun. And I'd go back to junior B. And then they're telling me, like, I've already made the team. And then for some reason, that, like, mental thing for me was like, it was weird. Like I didn't feel like, cause I was from the small town and I hadn't been around the big guys. And then all of a sudden I'm around like Rafi Torres and Stan Butler's the coach. I'm in the OHL and I'm like, this is so weird. Was it like that or no?
Yeah, that's not far off. Like it's just, you're just in all of a sudden you're like, man, what is going on? And it just catches you all by surprise. Like,
well, and instead of like worrying about your game, and this is like when I went to the AHL, same thing. When you're not worried about like playing your game and what you got you there and how you play, you're like, holy shit, I've seen that guy on TV. Like I know that guy. Holy shit, I've seen him before. Oh my God, look at him. And instead of being like, where's the puck? Like, where are we going? What are we doing? Right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, my camp was really good, and then kind of just shut my brain off when that game hit. But I knew at the time too that I had lots more time. Like that was obviously my first camp, but it was like they didn't expect anything from me. Like we said, like they didn't really know what to expect, so I gave them a show as best I could, and that was probably my best camp in the 5 years that I was there.
Those camps are huge, though. Eh? It's crazy how big the camp is. I remember that when I would go there, and everybody was getting so teed up, like just for the camp, because however you showed up at camp was like whether or not you're gonna make it or not back then, right?
Yeah,
like, it was like that for me.
Yeah, they were a big deal. All the fitness stuff, and they want you to be like in shape. I remember the one guy, he was out of shape, and they were just like, "Yep, see ya." I think they sent him home 2 days later. Like, yeah, you can't even do the fitness test. You gone.
Yeah, no, it's it's a bloodbath out there. Okay, so then after the camp, then you go to your first year strictly in the AHL for the Lake Erie Monsters, right?
Yep, it's based out of I think they're the Cleveland Monsters now. I think they're with Columbus at the time as of now. But see, I never really understood why they were Lake Erie. We played in Cleveland. I didn't really get that, but whatever. And yeah, I don't really know. That city is fantastic. They do a really good. Like we played in the queue, like the Quicken Loans Arena where the Cavaliers played.
The Cavaliers?
Like, Cavaliers, sorry. So you pull up and it's exactly the same parking. You pull up, there's a security guard and you tell them who you are and they let you down. You park underneath the arena, like literally an arena, and you're up the elevator to your dress, or no elevator to get to the dressing room, but then dressing room down right by the Cavs room, and it's just, they have a great setup there. It's one of the, went to a lot of AHL cities, and that was probably the best one that I've seen.
Wow, that's pretty
Personally.
cool. So,
So
what role are you playing that year? Because you played the full year. So, what role did you get on the team?
I was a fourth line, could hop onto the third line kind of guy, because I was never much of a penalty killer. That always hindered my career personally. I think I know now that I've played pro for so long. Even in junior, I never penalty killed. It's one thing I wish I learned in junior. I don't really know understand how. Actually, I can go all the way back to minor hockey that I did not penalty kill.
Do you realize that you said Sheldon Surrey was going to take a shot and you skated to the boards? Do you remember that part of the show? Do you remember that was part of this show? That was the same show. So if you're wondering what happened, it was that you were not taking it, right?
Okay. Yes, that was. Yeah. Okay, that makes a good point. But I never did it all along for a long time, so I think that hindered me my whole career.
I got out of the way of a bunch. I got out of the way of a bunch of shots. Don't feel bad. I got out of the like Sheldon Surrey. No, thank you. There were some shots I played against that I was like, I'm going to be just out of the way of this one. That sucker. If it's the regular season, that puppy can just miss me.
No, so I was like a fourth line, and then I jump up to the third line every once in a while, and that was basically my role for the year. Didn't really go too far with it. Other than that, wasn't great. Wasn't a great season. So,
wow, the AHL and the East Coast, dude, it's really not very fun. And when I looked at your career today, and I saw like where you'd played, I was like, geez, I can see why like he was so excited to come play for the Wolves and like be part of an actual team again. Like you were never part of a team, man. Like the Coast is more of a team than the AHL. There's no doubt about that, right?
I would say that. Like my first year I spent in the AHL, the whole year, when I personally believe like afterwards too, it was the same kind of thing. Like I couldn't penalty kill. I knew that. So that was an issue I had. I never could figure it out.
Is this a mental block or what's wrong? You penalty kill all the time.
I don't know. I just never got the chance to do it. Like I don't really know what I was doing wrong.
You're fast.
I don't know, buddy.
You don't get tired. You're not making sense. Okay, go ahead. But it must be the not blocking shots, sir. But
yeah, but I do enjoy blocking a good shot every once in a while too. So I don't really know what it was. The only block a shot I ever said I didn't block was Sheldon Surrey. Like, what do you blame me there? Like, I don't know. I was 18. What do you do?
No, I agree. I would have been scared shitless. You're right.
Yeah, and that was after Steve Ott knocked my head off. So what do you want?
Right? No, I totally agree. Like, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying you. Go ahead.
No, I personally believe that my first year in the NHL would have like they do now with a lot of the later round picks. They go to the East Coast and spend a year. If you're not a first line player in the A at the time, they send you down to the coast for that first year. You played number 1 minutes and you work on everything that way. But at the time, Colorado didn't have an East Coast Hockey League team. So we had a few of us that were just rotating in on that fourth line. I played most of the games, but a lot of the guys didn't. And I think my first year, I wish I at the time, now that I had gone down to there and learned how to play that first line minutes of pro hockey, but that's how it went, you know.
It is crazy how it all goes for people and like the different situations you get put in, whether or not you have confidence. Like if you go to an East Coast team and you're playing first line, playing first penalty kill power play, like ripping around like you can, kind of like you do for the Wolves, like you have confidence, then you go to the camp the next year like a different player, and like it is weird because like every time I went to the AHL I was on the fourth line with the fighter and I would get like 2 shifts a game and it was like, what am I doing here? Like, so when I get my second shift of this game, should I go out and fight somebody or like what am I supposed to do?
Right? Yeah, see, I felt the same way. It was hard to play at some points in those games. Like I played I think it was over 60, 62 or something. I played most of the games. But when you're only playing under 10 minutes a night, it's hard for those 2 shifts a period to even get your legs moving. You're just like, you get up and the next thing, and you guys are up and you're like, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. I can't even feel my legs. Like, I don't know. All right. And you try and you go there for 30 seconds and you try not to get scored off for 30 seconds. So you really don't have much to go for it, but
well, and then when you're a skill guy, like we are, like when you're handling the puck and playing a normal shift and like you're out there and you're feeling it and like you're handling the puck, you're in the play, and then all of a sudden that's what your whole career has been in Ripley, AAA, everywhere. Like same with me, you're always the guy, and then you get to these leagues and then all of a sudden they're like, play 4 shifts tonight, and you're like, well, how do I do that? Like I don't even know how to stick handle when I get out there because I've literally been sitting on the bench for like, and there's certain guys that like grew up knowing how to do that. Like they could sit on the bench and then go out and fight, and like those were the guys I was playing with. They knew how to do that. I didn't know how to do that, but that sounds like you had similar situations.
Yeah, it was definitely different once it got to that point, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so then the second year you do then go to the coast. You don't play for the Daytona Beach Bombers, one of the pod's favorite teams, which I don't think they exist anymore, but you're with the Fort. Oh, you're a hockey nerd. You know all this stuff, right? So the Fort Wayne Comets, do they exist?
Yeah, they're never going anywhere, buddy.
Really? And you played there and for the Cleveland Lake Erie Monsters, right?
Yeah, I got 20 games with them, I think, my second year, but it was mostly same kind of thing. It wasn't very much.
Fourth line fighter. You were grinding it out fighting.
There was no fights for me. I had how many pro fights did I have? I think I only had 2.
Stop it. I saw one season you had 174 penalty minutes, and I was trying to think, is that straight goaltender interference penalties?
It was not 174. My highest was 110.
Well, whatever it was, I was like, how does he get so many penalty minutes? Like, what is he doing? what were you doing? If you're not fighting, what were you doing?
Just playing. Not really. No, my second year.
You do some dirty shit though, eh?
My second year was, I went to Fort Wayne after, I think I got 10 games at the start of the year, and then I got called up halfway through and got another 10. But it was nice to go down there, to be honest, because the way they were in Lake Erie, like I said, 3rd and 4th line, it was nice. I was scoring goals. Like I think I was almost a goal a game down in Fort Wayne. It just really felt good again to score some goals and play more of a role on a team. And Fort Wayne is actually an unbelievable hockey city. It's crazy. Like, so they used to be part of the old IHL. No, yeah, IHL, then the CHL. Like, I don't know. They've just always been a hockey town. Numbers retired everywhere. It's just a crazy little town. Love their Fort Wayne Comets. So it was fun, and it was just nice to score and be one of the guys again.
I totally understand. When I went to Syracuse and I was changing in a shower to get ready for practice, and I felt like so far from part of the team, it was ridiculous. And then sorry for burping the mic, folks. But then you go down to the coast and you're like on the first line and you like get to do everything, and they're teaching you and they're helping you, and like I really enjoyed that part of it in the coast. But man, it's a different life and it's slumming in some places. But anyways, moving on, right? I think we're going to my next question is in your 3rd year. So I guess this is like near the end of your entry level. Is you played some games for San Antonio. Is that still Colorado?
Yeah. So my third year, they actually moved affiliates. Columbus took over Cleveland, which makes a lot more sense for
Everybody?
geographic. Yeah, geographically. Actually, Colorado's now moved theirs to Colorado to they took over the Eagles, which was a coast team, and they took that one over as their AHL team.
Hey, you're getting handsy on me again.
Sorry.
On me again. What are you doing?
Sorry, when I think I move. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no. Keep your hands to yourself, Garrett.
Anyway, yeah, my third year was they moved their affiliate down to Colorado or San Antonio so that Columbus could have Cleveland, and you know how that all works. And actually, Mikko Rantanen came in that year, and let me tell you, that guy is absolute beast. Like it was when he spent the whole first year there, and I barely played any games, but that guy was massive and did everything exactly how you should play hockey. And yeah, I didn't play there much. So I think I wasn't like 5 games. What was it? Like if you read it today, it was.
I have no. My research team was like really busy. So,
your hands were busy doing something else today.
No. I'm not handsy like you, Garrett. You're the one getting handsy today. So, anyways, go ahead. So you're in the coast then, still with the Fort Wayne Comets. So you were there. You spent some time in Fort Wayne, eh? Did you like that town? It's a good one then?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like I would say, it's probably one or two top 3 coast cities that you can play for between there and Toledo. And
have you been eating edibles or what's going on in Ripley tonight? Like, did you just say Toledo and Fort Wayne are the best East Coast teams? I was gonna say, have you been to the Lonnie Kai and the Florida Everblades?
Florida was my third choice.
Have you been to Idaho and played the Steelheads?
Idaho is probably up there. I did forget about Idaho.
I don't know who's in the league anymore, but these are just some of the teams. I remember the Las Vegas Wranglers were a team.
They're gone now, buddy.
Well, there were the San Diego Gulls.
They're an AHL team now. I never played there.
Okay, well, either way, I know Toledo has a new rink, but the rink I played in and the Toledo I played against was literally the most ridiculous place in minor hockey. It was
Toledo's. I've heard a lot of good things about that place, and playing there, that place is packed every single night.
And that's a big deal. Playing in front of fans is a big deal. And you know what? That brings a memory to me. Playing in front of fans is the first time I ever played a game for the Ripley Wolves. No, I'm not joking. I went out there, we skate around, and then they're like, okay, you're playing with Britzy and Cato, and you guys are starting the game, and we go stand on the blue line. And like we're standing there and they actually play O Canada. And I look over and there's literally like 4 people in the crowd. Like 4. And I was like, why are they playing O Canada if nobody's here? Like, this is kind of weird. But then by the end of it, from that was the first time I ever went out, and they were not good. To where we were by the end of my time with the Wolves. And we were in packed houses. There was lineups to get into the arena. People were hanging from the rafters like I'm back in Junior B playing for the Sugar Kings. It was awesome, man. I loved every second of it until I went septic. You know?
Yeah, they're playing for. That's why like Fort Wayne, like they packed that barn every night. It was a great place to play. Like they treated us. They had a lot of fans, a lot of following. They were good to everybody.
What size is the rink?
Oh, I don't know. Like it was between them and Toledo. It was like 6,000.
Really? That many people, eh?
Yeah, it was between them and Toledo for top 1, 2 every year for fans.
Okay, well, getting over that arena, then we're gonna move on to the Wheeling Nailers.
You just went from the best arena to the worst.
Well, I don't know if it's the worst. I've played there. It's very interesting. It's an interesting arena. It is very like slapshottish, which I kind of like. Like I don't like the new arenas. I don't like the big fancy arenas where like sometimes there's fans, sometimes there's not. Like that place had character, man. That arena's nuts, right?
It was you're kind of right. Like it wasn't too big for the town, right? So I think it averaged 3,000, but it probably couldn't hold much more than that. And or no, it held 3,000, but only got like 15-2. And but they were the same way. Their following was huge. Like they love their fights. Like you've heard Biz Nasty talk about the place. Like the guy was a legend in Wheeling, and I can confirm that. The trainer was still, or not the trainer, the equipment manager was still there from Biz Nasty's time, and the stories are real. That Biz Nasty
I played against him in the coast. He was in Wheeling
Did you?
when I was in Daytona Beach. He was in Wheeling, and he was entertaining, man. It was just it wasn't like watching you play for the Wolves. It was like this guy was like in warm-ups, like trying to we had a superstar French guy, and like Biz Nasty was like trying to fight him during warm-ups, and he would get our fighter up at the red line, and he would like all the fans would be so into the game because Biz was starting to fight with like our 6'9" guy, our French superstar, and then all of a sudden like the game had an edge, and it was like we were playing a real game again, and like he had that way about him in warm-ups for no reason of doing it, and I was like, this is hilarious. Like I thought it was great, and this was just watching a warm-up, watching this guy trying to fight these guys. But yeah, yeah, he was something else in the coast, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, Wheeling was good. It was yeah, there's some interesting. They were one of the more unorganized teams I ever played for as well. Like they had a lot of issues. Like I remember the one time we didn't have a bus. We had a road trip, and somebody said, "All right," we all showed up at the arena, and we waited, and somebody goes, "Where's the bus?" And the coach went and called somebody and was like, "We don't have a bus. Everyone hold tight." And we're like, "What?" He goes, "One sec. We're working on a bus." Next thing you know, we're in this guy. It's this fan. He turned a tractor trailer into a party bus that you go to like a bachelor trip on. And we're on that going to Brampton for the fucking weekend. Oop, not supposed to do that. But
F bombs. Hey, jeez,
sorry,
aggressive.
sorry.
Hey, earmuffs, folks, earmuffs.
Sorry, bud.
But just so you know, folks, since he just swore, this has no reason to segue into this at all, but we got to remind everybody we actually have sponsors today. Is that Wally 20 is going to get you 20% off a 3-night stay, minimum 3-night stay in the Blue Mountain Collingwood area. And that's at stayinblue.ca. And support the Fig Studio. And the biggest news is folks that have chewed their whole life, and or they just want to clean up the teeth for the wife and have a nice smile, or get a heavy spray tan, or you know what, sugaring, folks, get the hair off your body. It's got to happen for your significant other, but you know what, gentlemen, we're not going to the undercarriage, but Lisa does do sugaring too. And the She Shed does all sorts of stuff, folks, and they are the sponsor today. So just remember, when you're getting your teeth whitened, spray tanned, or anything, it is 15% off. It is code Wally15. So if you're standing in front of Lisa naked, just say Wally15, and guess what, folks? That heavy spray, 15% off, and pretty exciting news on the pod, guys. If anybody wants a heavy spray, but I think maybe if anybody in the area has a wife, maybe surprise her with a 15% off code of standing in front of my wife naked and saying Wally 15. I think that'll be funny. Meursy, if somebody does that, that's going to be funny. But you know what? Maybe you want some whiter teeth. Who knows? 15% off counts for everything, folks. And here we go. We're moving into, where were we? I don't even know. You were gone forever. I was talking forever trying to keep up here. You were in Wheeling for 2 years. So what's the living conditions like in Wheeling?
Actually, they had a pretty good. Wheeling itself as a city is not a great city. I remember I read a sign one of the first times I was there about how at the turn of the 19th century, it was the greatest per capita income in the United States. Now I'd probably say it's in the bottom 10. It is the city
tough town, eh?
It's turned into a little bit of a tough town. The downtown itself, there's not much there. But they actually did a good job. I don't know how they got it hooked up. There's actually, right across from the arena, there's a new apartment building that was just getting put in my first year. So halfway through the year, we moved into this place. But I was literally, I could throw a football and hit the arena. And we all lived on the bottom floor. The whole floor was us. So we had a hell of a time. It was a good time. You did whatever. You'd always be with each other, right? Like that's what it's all about. If you were bored, you just go knock on the next door and see what's up, and then just keep going until you found somebody playing video games or doing whatever, playing any games, just whatever, doing whatever. Or you do. There's lots to do.
Oh, there's
in the apartment.
No, you're right though. In the coast, it was like that though. Like if you get done practice and everybody's like, okay, it's over for the day. Like everybody was like, well, like what do we do now? And you just play video games. Everybody was together all the time. Buffalo Wild Wings was a hot spot for sure.
We didn't have a Buffalo. We had a casino, so that got well used as well.
Okay,
and then when we moved actually into this new place, because we were at a place a little farther up the street till about Christmas time, they moved us all down to this new place. We, me and my roommate actually bought scooters, little electric ones you charge, like you plug into the wall and you plug them in. They didn't go very fast, but we ended up buying them. We drive them right into the dressing room and park them at our stalls for the day, for the morning. Till the trainer yelled at us and told us to stop because he had to sweep the floors after us.
This is in Wheeling?
Yeah, he didn't like, because we bring dirt in behind us, right? So he's like, you guys stop.
Isn't it interesting though that it was the same for me that 1 year I played in North America, was that I had more fun playing in the coast without any of the amenities and all that other stuff, was because I felt like I was part of a team. I had a role on the team. Like I was one of the top line guys, and I felt like I was on a team. Where you go to the AHL and you're playing fourth line with the fighter, or you might get called up to the third line, but you don't even feel like you belong with them or whatever. Like you felt more comfortable, right? Like with the guys in the coast. Were you the same?
Yeah, you're right. You're not competing against each other to move. Like you're not competing against each other. You're more just there playing hockey, like just enjoying the game. And like you said earlier, I just enjoy the game. So like I was the first guy there every morning. We didn't practice till 9:30. I'd be there at 7:30 and I have the TV on. I'd be foam rolling, if you could call it that. More just using it as a pillow, watching the game show network or the highlight. Well, I'd start with the highlights, but after the first time it was through and it was into the second, I'd turn on the game show network for the boys because we'd all be bored of the highlights. And I just lay there till we got on the ice, and then probably should have taken more care of my body before practice. Probably help me now that I can't bend over, touch my toes. But
yeah, are you kidding me? Are you serious?
Well, that's screw you.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
You,
let's get real here. I've seen you still play hockey. You're doing just fine. Don't even give me that shit. I can hardly do anything. I can't even fart without getting injured. But seriously, like I don't know what you're talking about. Like that senior A thing, man. Like some of those games, the next day I would be so sore. I would foam roll for, as you say, forever, and just to try and get ready for the next one. And all I wanted to do was help Ripley win a championship and take that gosh darn trophy to the kids' school and win one more time because I had done it before. And when you win and you realize how fun it is, and like you realize what it can do to a town, to a community, and like you see what it did with the Wolves when we were going to Clinton in the finals. Like that shit's addictive, and I just wanted to win one last time, and yeah, like
Yeah.
it was too bad we never had a chance, and COVID ruined that for you guys going into the finals, eh?
Yeah, we were in the semifinals there, and next thing you know, I'm getting a text on a Friday afternoon saying game's canceled. Call you when the next game is. Then get a text. She's done, boys.
Okay.
Which
Actually, I skipped
we all
ahead
thought.
there. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So you were in Wheeling for 2 years. You're having great years. You're top line, but like in the coast, you don't make much money. So you're done your entry level deal. You're probably on maybe just a straight up East Coast, maybe HL deal. And like,
Nope. No, I finished. So I finished my NHL deal. I would have liked to return to Fort Wayne. I didn't have an offer from Fort Wayne. I didn't have a. We went to the conference finals my last year in Fort Wayne. I actually ended up. So I was still on my NHL deal, and I ended up not even playing in the conference finals. So there was not a good relationship there. Like I had a good relationship with the players. Like I shouldn't say not. I didn't have a bad relationship, but I had a bad. They didn't have any desire to want me on their team, so I was okay. Um, so I started looking around. I had a few offers in the coast. I obviously had offers in Europe, and the coast had a couple. I still wanted to give it a try over in North America, so coast had a few offers, and Wheeling coach said, I've seen you play, and I like how you play, and I think you'll be good in Wheeling." And actually, Jeff Alkenbrack knew the coach. He said, he'll be good to you, so you should do this one. So they were actually $25 more than the other team too, so that really made a difference.
$25 a week. That's holy moly. That adds up. Hey, you gotta tilt your little thingy-majiggy down just a little bit because I keep just seeing your mouth. It's better now. Oh, there. Oh, beautiful. Okay. No, but you're right. $25 a week, that shit adds up, man. But who's the coach that he's saying is gonna be good to you? And that's the coach in Wheeling?
Yeah, the coach in Wheeling was Jeff Christian.
Oh, I know him. Yeah, Lackner's good buddies with him and played for him with Elke too. Yeah, Lackner, my best buddy in
Yeah,
Elmira there.
he was in the minors a lot. He played some NHL games, and then mostly minors though for a long time. He was good. He liked how I played, as you can see by the penalty minutes. He didn't mind those.
I still try to figure out how they all add up to that much if you don't actually fight anybody, but
I had one a year. Don't worry.
you know what? I guess that gets back to the opening when we said that he holds the record for most goaltender interference penalties in the WOAA loop history. Okay, next question, because we've hung out at the Bulldogs volleyball tournament, and I'm pretty sure that was one of those times that it just came up in my memory of we talked out of Bulldogs volleyball tournament about like I could get you a contract in the UK if you wanted one because I had skated with you at that point and I was like, well, like you're good, like I can help you, but you did not take the bait. You were not interested. You did not go. So why did you not go? You
Uh,
had a lot of offers, did you not?
I had a few. I had one the year before my sign in Wheeling. I had one in the Russia there for. It wasn't the KHL. It was whatever's under
The
that
VHL. The VHL.
Yeah, but it was. I don't know. I was like, I don't really trust that. I don't really trust the KHL at the time. It's better now, but everyone was still kind of like, what is this? It's Russian. So they were wondering, and then this the next league down. I'm like, I don't know. I'm okay. That was definitely a pass at the time. But then I had some other ones over there in Germany, and it was never the Dell though. It was never the Dell. So that was always like, well, it's not the Dell.
Hey, buddy, I made a living in the second league.
Yeah, okay.
Somewhat.
And then
it went down though. When I went over there, money was better than by the end. Every year, like the money went down for imports because every year they realized they could get college players to come over for tryouts and not guarantee them anything. And then just wait until they found like a diamond in the rough. Sorry for burping the mic, folks, again.
Yeah, no, and then I remember that conversation though. That was like, one of the first times. Oh, sorry, not the first time, but another time where we got met up again because you're in the area again. And I was saying you should go, you should do it. And I really wish I did do a year over there. Obviously, it would have been an interesting experience, but at the same time, I just stayed here and now I'm happy with where I am. So
no, man, it all works out, right? Like you finished the courses you needed to take, you got into where you needed to get into, and you got a baby on the way, you're married, everything's worked out, and I think on my notes I just wrote no Europe with a question mark. And it was like I would have been curious for you to go over there for a year just so we could talk about it now and like where you would have gone and where you would have played and how it would have gone. Because you were 1,000% good enough to do it.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys that are over there now, and I sometimes wish that I had gone over, but yeah, like I'm just happy. I'm happy with what's going on now, so I have no regrets. But it would have been a sweet year.
No,
like I talked to my buddy. My buddy plays in the Dell, and I talked to him. He was in my wedding party. I have one guy from junior that's in my wedding party, and he's over in Germany every year, and he's like, "Man, you should have came." And I'm like, "Yeah, it would have been cool, but it's all right."
Yeah, no, you seem happy, buddy, and I have actually met that guy. I definitely have. Yeah, end of year Wolves party one time, I think. Right? Was he not here?
Yeah, you met him.
Yeah, we chatted. Anyways, like I kind of wish you would have gone over there, but like I don't, because especially with this pandemic and where hockey players are at now, you are so lucky you were done when you were and you made the decisions you did and you got the courses done, you got hired, man. You've had a hell of a career by looking at all these notes and how long we've chatted is like, it's pretty wild that you're from Ripley, where the kids go to school now 10 minutes down the road, and we can still run hockey schools together, eh?
Yeah, it is pretty. Yeah, well, yeah, it wouldn't. It turned out pretty well. Like, especially like you said with the pandemic, I didn't time it anything, but like it did work out where I was done a year before the pandemic hit, but I couldn't imagine these guys. I feel bad. Like you see them stories, like they can't come back. They're quarantining. They're not sure if they're even playing. Well, that was more last summer, but they didn't know if they were going over there. They were all up in the air. So I am glad I didn't have, and there was no jobs in North America. There was no jobs you're hearing because the AHL was like, I couldn't imagine those guys, and I felt bad for every single one of them because everyone loves to play. Like you said, I love going to the rink as much as the next fucking guys. Oop.
Yep.
Earmuffs.
Jeez, jeepers, creepers. That's 2 in a row. Jeepers. No, but like,
No, it's not 2 in a row.
well, no, not well. You've done 2 F bombs, but like I'm saying is like when you show up, like you loved hockey and like you don't need to get paid to do it. I was the same way. Like I was told by doctors I should never play hockey again, and I was playing and I was meeting you guys and making buddies around town, which I can always stop by for beers now that I pick up the kids a little bit early, like say 13 minutes early, maybe, give
No,
or
I think the
take.
one time you came, I think the one time you came, you had 10.
Well, either way, like you gotta get there before the bell goes, right?
Yeah, you're right. No, it is. That is one thing. It's just, and then that's everyone that plays in that league, in the senior league, though. That's because you're still willing to travel. You know, you love the game. Like you show up there, and every single one of those guys is they're not just playing rec hockey; they just want to play hockey.
Well, and then like some of the beauties that I've met through it, the Stewart boys, Britzy, like all like there's too many to name, but like I I really did enjoy it. It made Kincardine feel like home and Ripley feel like home. My kids go to school in Ripley. Colby plays hockey in Kincardine with it just it made it feel like home because I got to know so many people. I got to know so many people around Ripley, and I guess that all happened before you moved back from hockey. But boy, it was really exciting when you joined the team.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun to come home. Like I've been hearing the Wolves talks. Well, you started 2 years before I came, and I've been hearing Wolves talk about how. Because I remember when I was a kid, going to the Wolves game was the thing to do. It was a hockey. It was a hockey game on a Friday night, and it was the thing to do in Ripley because there's nothing else to do in Ripley. And I remember you used to go and you used to watch people fight and then Ripley lose, and then they were good for a few years though. They had some good players, some good talent, and then but they weren't there. And then I remember hearing some rumors and whispers about how they were getting better. I know like Brett Cato and Cody Britton had a lot to do with that. Those two were they basically between those two and you, they were the year before you too.
Oh, they
They
were there
turned that
before me. They had been there. Yeah, they were.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
They
I
came
just
from
joined their line. Yeah, I no,
they came
yeah.
straight out of junior and they hooked him into Ripley and they got him and they really turned a lot of things around. And I was hearing things like I was playing down there and they're like, Ripley's been good. Ripley's like this. Then they won the A. And then next thing you know, and I was like, okay, well, it kind of helped too because I was like, I'm not quitting to go nowhere. I'm going to quit and I'm going to go play some hockey that's still fun and has a chance at still winning and playing for my town now. Like that because I bought my house. I moved home as soon as I could. Like I never really left.
No, I know Ripley's deep in you, and you didn't want to go too far. I really like Ripley. I feel like I fit it around there. Um, yeah, no, I think me playing for the Wolves there for a bit and doing well might have helped with recruiting for a little bit, maybe. But anyways, we almost got it done that one year, right? Yep.
Yeah, uh, yeah, I can say we almost did. Clinton,
They were
they have a
better
pretty
than
good team.
us. They were better than
Yeah,
us. And
they have
they were better than us. They were better
they're
than
in front.
us. I was not in shape and young enough, and
They
I
they
planned on
were
getting in shape for those playoffs. I did. I remember this. I was planning on like I was gonna do whatever, and I was gonna get in shape, and then we played Durham, and the guy cross checked me in the back, and I hit the ice, and I had back spasms for like a month, and I was like, this is horrible. Like I can't do anything, but I kept going back and playing more games for the Ripley Wolves, which makes no sense when you look back on it now. But I never did get that good a shape. And then when we lost in the finals, that hurt, man. Like when you get 2 buses down from Ripley and you can't get it done. I'm just way too competitive to lose, I guess.
Yeah, no, they put together a good team. Like we didn't lose to a bad team, so we can't say anything. So.
No, they might have had a little bit more financial incentives, right?
Yeah,
we were playing voluntarily, and everybody else on their team were driving from all over the place and perhaps getting some cash. However, I hope you guys get to play again. I hope to take Colby back to a game. I think he's I think he's ready to go back to Wolves game. There was a time there where he wasn't too into the Ripley Wolves there, but I think he's ready. But I really did enjoy my time, and my kids love the Ripley school, and I think it's great that you've came on the podcast and got to tell me the story, man, because like, dude, when you're done and you start working as an electrician, um, like you don't get to talk about it much, right? Like you just keep working every day, and every day's the same, and you just keep going, and it's like Monday to Friday, then the weekend, Monday to Friday, then the weekend. And at least we're doing something different, even though we wanted to do this in person, right?
yeah, no, you're right. Like it was nice to come back, and everything kind of it came together because I came back, like you said, I got something figured out for a career, and then I was still able to play hockey at the same time. So it didn't really. I know a lot of times people that you like I said I sat there for 2 months. I was like, what am I gonna do? And then I was like, all right, well, I gotta get this figured out. And then I did, and then yeah, everything's been good. So
No, man, I congratulate you on making a good decision on like you're very talented. You're a very good hockey player, and it's got to be hard. It's got to be a very hard decision to stop doing that because you start realizing maybe you're not going to make the millions or you're not going to do this or that. But like you made that decision at an age where you could go take that course and get in. And I kind of didn't do that, right? Like I was in my 30s and I like don't have any work experience and like I have education, but like you made a good decision. Then with this pandemic and everything, like you yeah, man, you did good. You did good, kid.
yeah, well, I didn't really plan on a pandemic, but
No.
it kind of worked out in my favor in that way. Like I didn't have to. There was no. Yeah, I feel bad for all those guys. Like friends with a lot of them on Snapchat and Facebook and everything, and you see all these
And they're
guys that
your
are just
age, right? Like that's brutal when they're all your age and they're going through that
and they're like
crap.
waiting for they're like nowhere to go, right? Like no, they got nowhere to play, and they're just you feel bad. I am happy that I didn't get stuck with that, but at the same time, like man, those it's still fun. Like they're playing because it's fun. They love hockey, and they're playing it, and now they can't because it's just this whole mess, and it's whatever.
Well, and it's crazy because like it's like yourself, you're still good enough. You can still do it, but you're not allowed to. And then it's like, well, do I need to find a different job? Do I need to go do something different? But that like at the end of the day, they are good enough to do what they're doing. So that's all very I can you know what? Cheers, buddy. You're the youngest player on the podcast ever, sir. You're only, what does it say, 28?
Yeah, you got it.
Well, cheers, buddy. Hey, good luck with everything with on the pod here with adding a new player to the team. I'm very excited for you guys, and I think we should bring up our sponsors again one last time, right, before we end this. Do you have anything else before?
One more time?
No, before we shut it down, but like I
Well,
should mention the she shed again and all that, because you know what, one thing we forgot about is why we know each other at the start. It's not just like the she shed's the sponsor, is that Lisa works there, but also you got some ties there too, eh? I'm going pee.
You want me to finish the story? I guess Wally's wife Lisa also works at the she shed, and my wife is works there, and her mother, so my mother-in-law, is part owner of the She Shed Beauty Boutique there in Kincardine. So Wally would be impressed with how I'm saying that, but that's how another reason why we get together on the occasions for a few beverages and hangouts is due to the She Shed. So if anyone needs their beauty taken care of, call them.
Well done, Meursy.
Did I do it good?
I don't know. I never listened to it. I was peeing. It sounded good when I came in. I heard about beauty. But seriously, folks, if you are into a spray tan, I know you gentlemen aren't because I see the demographics, but if you want to tell your wife, if she comes over to the house or to the she shed for a spray tan and she gets all geared down, ready to get a heavy spray, and she says, Wally 15, well, folks, that's 15% off a heavy spray. And guess what? Sugaring, you need some hair removed? Well, 15% off, folks. Just no boys in the undercarriage. That's not allowed. And teeth whitening, gentlemen, we all know we got bad teeth. And ladies, you can always improve and get better. So, teeth whitening, 15% off. Just say Wally 15. That's all you got to say to the wife. That's all you got to say to her. That's it. And stay at blue.ca, Wally 20, and you get 20% off a minimum 3-night stay in the Blue Mountains. You want to ski in the winter, you want to golf in the summer, you want to, go for a bachelor party and Stretch throws all his golf clubs off the mountain. Whatever you want to do in the Blue Mountains, it's completely up to you. But 20% off with Wally 20. Garrett, anything you got to say before we end this sucker? Because we did not discuss the she shed tie, which is how we are going to stay connected now that I am not a Ripley Wolf. We got to go out outside of hockey. It had nothing to do with hockey. We went out to the Bruce, and it had nothing to do with hockey. It was just our gals were in business together, eh?
Yeah, you're right. We did have a good night there, actually. I think
you sound surprised.
Well, I'm just saying it was outside of hockey. Like, I don't usually do a lot of things outside of hockey, so
I agree.
It was good. But yes,
it is kind of weird that we match up in the same way, and that is why we have this sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Is our sponsor is the She Shed, and they take care of all sorts of beauty products. They'll sugar your undercarriage, folks. I don't think the guys, but they'll spray tan you. They'll do eyelashes. What else do they do? Toes, fingernails. I don't know.
They do it all.
Yeah. Well, whatever you gals want, just fellas, if you want the spray tan, just remember, Wally 15 will get you 15% off. but you don't get the undercarriage. I'm sorry, folks. You're gonna have to wear a Speedo or something. Okay. Anything else we gotta say before we shut this down? I just would say, from talking to Colby, my son, and I think he's ready to be a Ripley Wolves fan again. I hope, because he goes to school there, and we love the town and the people and all that. As everybody knows from listening to the pod, how competitive I am. I don't like when things are out of my hand, and I did not get to try at the end, but you guys did make it to the finals, but COVID ended it anyways, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways. So all of it doesn't matter. It's all in good fun. But
It really is. That's what this league's all about now.
right, and like there hasn't even been a league since it's all happened, and like it's all
Yeah, we didn't play last year. So.
exactly. And like I went out and skated with you, all you fellas, and had a back spasm after like 3 shifts. So
Well,
we
that's
all
what
know
happens when you.
we all know
That's what happens when
why
you
I'm a
turn your age.
podcaster now, right? Like I just cannot do it anymore. I am.
I remember that. I look over. Hey, Wally, what are you doing? You had a beer on the bench. Wally, you all right? No, I'm just gonna go home now. I'm like, oh, he goes, yeah, I'm gonna finish this, but then I'm gonna go home. Like, I can't do this with you guys.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let everybody know that it's all good. It's all fine.
Yeah, no, we had
I
a few
understand,
guys
and
though.
you know what? As everybody would say in the hockey world, is I've never met a coach that doesn't want to win. So, if you're a coach, you want to win. So you're going to put the best team you possibly can together. And then I just was not used to that. But anywho, I'm not gonna get into any more of that. It just was tough pill to swallow, and it was hard there for a while, and I'm just being honest. But I don't know why I'm talking about this because playing with you was a blast. Playing with all the guys in the Ripley Wolves were a blast. Um, I got so many friends out of playing for the Ripley Wolves. I met so many people in that Blue Line Club and going up for a couple beers, and then met guys from other teams, and like I loved it, man. I was still a hockey player, and I would work all day, and I would get to at least get to do the things I missed, right?
Yeah, that's what I enjoy. Even though it's like I said, it's only Wednesdays and weekends, but I still you get to see you go to a dressing room.
Yeah,
Like I don't know.
yeah, and you get to try and chirp me, and you're brutal at it.
Well, that I thought I was pretty good. Everyone else always seemed to laugh except for you. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they laughed at how bad you were at chirping me, but just saying. Anyways, no, seriously, like it's been great getting to know you, man, and I'm glad that I went out for that 6 a.m. skate in Godrich to try.
Yeah, you were there at 6. We didn't show up till 8, but you're good. You're good. That's the commitment you were. That's the commitment you have. 6 a.m. and then you stayed for the 8 o'clock skate, so you're good.
I'll let Andrew Lord know there in Cardiff because he was the guy that was pushing me about it. He was like, "Do you not actually skate in the summer?" I'm like, "No, I never skate in the summer. I'll see you when we start." Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said. Hey, so I heard there's some real hockey players going out on the ice. Who are you?
Do you think that's how it started? I don't remember that.
That's what you said. You came in the dressing room and said,
I doubt it.
I heard there's some real hockey players.
That doesn't make sense. Well, Ryan O'Reilly won the Stanley Cup like a couple years later, and I got a picture with him and the family with all the trophies. So I guess I could play with him, right?
Yeah. He maybe wore his line.
Yeah,
out
we had a heck of some summer skates. Feel like I almost won it too.
Yeah.
Okay. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And support your local restaurants.